Good morning and welcome to another week. I really hope that last week was a blessing for you, and that in the week itself you have managed to spend some time with Jesus. And in fact, today's part is all about John 5, and the theme is healed. And the question really this morning is whether you are sitting in a spot where you're struggling to see the glass half full. You might be struggling with negative thoughts. And a lot of those negative thoughts are thoughts about yourself, how you view yourself. Maybe it's thoughts that is about the country and your circumstances, and maybe you are physically in negative and bad circumstances. Maybe this morning you are confronted with health issues. So I hope that this section that John writes about what really happened in John 5, and this is actually the area where the controversial aspects of the traditional legal systems, the religious systems, was confronted by Jesus. On this day, in this chapter, it is when the religious leaders started hating Jesus, where they really started to take a position to want to kill him. Now we all know the end result, but this started at the bath of Bethsaida, bath at Bethesda, and this is a man that's been ill for 38 years. He was afflicted, he was paralyzed, and it's quite weird, but Jesus comes to him and asks him, do you want to be made well? Now, when I read this, I thought, wow, why would Jesus ask this question? Because, who doesn't want to be made well, especially after 38 years? But in a way, this guy was lying there at the bath, and every time that the angels came to stir the water, he was not able to get to the water first. So in a way, hope was lost to him. And I think to a large extent, we are looking at the gospel, we are listening to the word, and we're reading the Bible, but maybe in ourselves we have to be brutally honest. We look at the things in this world and we tend to just not see the miracles. We tend to just not see the results that we are so desiring. We might be sitting and saying, but I've lost hope. What Jesus does is he told this guy, look at me. What Jesus is telling us this morning, amidst all this, look at me. And in John 5, when the man looked at Jesus, Jesus gave him the instruction. He said to him to get up and walk, which he then did. What is quite important is all of this also happened on the Sabbath. Now, based on religious law at that point, the man was not even allowed to carry the blankets and the bed that he was lying on. But Jesus told him to pick it up and go home. Of course, this caused a lot of questions. It caused a lot of hate from the leadership, because firstly, not only was this guy healed, but Jesus instructed him to work on the Sabbath, because by definition, by picking up his bed he was carrying, he was working. in your life, what are the things that Jesus are calling you to pick up? What are the things that we are called to change our perception on? Where is our eyes focused? And to what extent are we focusing our eyes on tradition or on things that we expect and not on Jesus? Jesus said 3 things, and these are great principles about himself. I'm God. I do what God does, and I can forgive sin, in John 5:19. He raises the dead because he's God. This is also the reason he can give us everlasting life today. He came to save the first time, but he will come to judge the next time. But if you'll hear his word and believe in him, you won't come into judgment, but will pass from death to life. You can have everlasting life if you hear and believe his word. What we tend to forget is when we don't turn our eyes on Jesus, we cannot hear and see him. When we do not focus our attention on him with faith, we will be found wanting. We will be found where we are struggling with the things of this world because our eyes are not fixed on him that is life. So be inspired in this week, and maybe as we also in our life groups deal with the theme of grown-up prayers, maybe the question this morning and the question for each one of us is to pray the following prayer. Lord, let me see. Lord, let me see you. And imagine all these things that's currently happening in your life and in the world, that as we look and we see Jesus, as we put our faith in him, that we will find the healing for our hearts and for our lives. So I pray that in this week coming, that you will join me in this prayer, Lord, let me see you. And make the decision to turn your eyes towards him. Because we know the end of the story. We know that Jesus was hanged on the cross, that he died. But we also know today that he rose from the dead. So we have the hope of everlasting life. We have the hope of life. And it's now our command to manifest his life, his love into this world. So be encouraged. Jesus loves you. And he's telling you and me today, get up. Take up those things that hold you back and follow me. Be encouraged in following Jesus. Thank you so much and have an awesome, awesome week.